Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at today's update on the Alberta wildfires. We will begin with an update from Bree Hutchinson from the Alberta Emergency Management Agency, and then Melissa Story from Alberta Wildfire. We will then take your questions. Bree, go ahead.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm pleased to report that we continue to see more residents safely returning to their home as firefighting efforts continue across the province. Many local authorities have detailed information on reentry plans on their websites and social media channels. I encourage all residents returning to their homes to check online with their local authority for the most up-to-date reentry information. Evacuation orders continue to be lifted once local authorities deem it to be safe. Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation began their reentry plan yesterday, with Phase 2 residents returning today. Despite this good news, the threat of wildfire persists, and we encourage residents of affected authorities to remain informed as we see temperatures increase over the weekend. Alberta continues to be under a provincial state of emergency, and the Provincial Emergency Coordination Centre remains at a level 4. There are currently 21 states of local emergency, 3 band council resolutions, and 5,257 people remain evacuated. Right now, 5 reception centres are open for affected areas, and there are 6 evacuation orders in place. As people are returning home, I want to remind evacuees to follow their local authorities' reentry instructions closely to make sure the process goes smoothly and safely. It's also important to remember that in some communities where residents are returning home, there may still be an evacuation alert in place. This means that people should still keep a bag packed and have a plan in place should they need to evacuate again. While we hope that won't be the case, it's important to be prepared should the need arise. For information on the evacuation or re-entry status of specific communities, visit alberta.ca/emergency. For those who are still evacuated, we continue to urge you to register at your nearest reception center or online. Evacuees with questions can also call 310-4455. The province continues to hold telephone town halls for evacuees looking for more information or answers to their questions. The next one is at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, Saturday, May 27th. More information is available at alberta.ca/emergency. Over the past few weeks, we have seen an outpouring of support for affected Albertans. If you wish to help, you can donate to the Alberta Fires Appeal through the Canadian Red Cross or recognize local charity of your choice. More information on ways to help is available at alberta.ca/emergency. The last few weeks have been difficult for thousands of Albertans, and I want to take a minute to thank everyone for their cooperation and patience during this extraordinary event. There are still many people eager to get home and return to some kind of normal, and we recognize their resilience during such a trying time. We appreciate the continued understanding shown throughout this emergency as firefighters and local authorities work to ensure a safe return home. With the fire bans and restrictions changing in some parts of the forest protection area, we encourage Albertans to check their local authorities' fire ban status and use extreme caution if having a safe fire is allowed in your area. Thank you, and I will now invite Melissa to give an update from Alberta Wildfire.
Thanks, Bree. There are 51 wildfires in the forest protection area. 14 of those are out of control. So far this year, we've responded to 523 wildfires, burning more than 1,035,000 hectares. You can see the progress firefighters have been making on containing these wildfires reflected in the numbers. Since yesterday, we have had 2 more of the out-of-control wildfires change to being held status, which means they are not expected to grow past established boundaries. Cooler weather across most of the province has helped firefighters make progress containing the wildfires that have been burning for several weeks. Temperatures are expected to increase over the weekend, which means we may see slightly increased fire behavior. Going into this weekend, we don't have the same kind of conditions we saw when we had extreme wildfire behavior a few weeks ago. We are in more seasonal weather patterns for this time of year with balanced temperatures and scattered showers. We have been able to make progress on many of our larger wildfires. Firefighters have been able to cut more fire guard, reinforce containment lines, and put in the work on the ground to bring these wildfires under control. If you are returning home after evacuation, please allow firefighters the space to continue working. These are still active wildfires, and there are hidden dangers in burned out areas that we all need to be mindful of. Smoke may also still be visible. In areas that we still have active wildfires, the fire ban and OHV restriction remain in place. We have implemented a fire restriction in areas of the province that currently have lower fire danger. Please visit albertafirebans.ca for the most up-to-date information on bans and restrictions across the province if you are heading out this weekend. And remember, if you are in an area that allows campfires, always make sure they are fully extinguished before you leave. Soak the ashes, stir them, and soak them again until they are cool to the touch. We all have a role to play in preventing wildfires.
Thank you, Melissa. I don't believe we have any questions in the room, so we'll go right to the phone. Operator, do you have a reporter with a question on the phone?
Weiberg, TTV. Okay. Hi, thanks for taking my question. I was just wondering if you had any idea when the provincial state of emergency could be lifted, what sort of conditions we need to see before that happens.
I'll allow Bree to answer this one.
Thanks, Nicole. So the provincial state of emergency is currently in place until June 3rd, based on the amount of days. What we're looking to see is the situation to improve quite a bit. As I mentioned, there's still 21 state of local emergencies in place and 3 band council resolutions. So there's still quite a bit of work to be done before we can remove that. So we're not going to remove it at that point, but we'll stay tuned for further discussion with Cabinet and others if that needs to happen.
Nicole, do you have a follow?
Yeah, we just had some people asking about the decision to change the fire ban to a fire advisory in much of the forest protection area. Just questioning sort of why a community, a city like Edmonton would still be under a ban when, you know, a lot of this area is forest and it's now changing to an advisory. I guess just what would you say to them as to, you know, why this decision is made there but not in a different municipality like Edmonton?
Thanks for your question. I'll have Melissa answer that.
I just want to remind everyone there is still a fire ban and OHV restriction in the northern parts of the province. We take into consideration the fire danger across the province when it comes to implementing and removing fire bans, advisories, and restrictions. We also work very closely with our municipal partners, so a city like Edmonton would make that decision on their own, but there is still an OHV restriction and fire ban in the northern parts of the province.
Thanks, Melissa. Operator, can you put through the next reporter?
The next question comes from Arthur Green, Western Standard.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. Do you have a number of the residents that have returned so far? Like, so how many people have actually returned to their homes?
So what we do know is there were over 38,000 Albertans evacuated at one point or another, and we're now roughly just over 5,000. So there's been, you know, over 33,000 Albertans that have returned home.
Arthur, do you have a follow?
I do. What does the fire situation look like in the weeks ahead? Like, have we looked ahead at the weather or the different conditions that are upcoming in the near future?
I'll turn to my colleague Melissa for that answer.
Thanks for the question. We have a lot of large-scale wildfires burning on the landscape right now. It is going to take months to put these out. The conditions that we're seeing right now are seasonable compared to what we did see at the beginning of May. Anytime we see periods of hot, dry conditions mixed with the wind that we did see a few weeks ago, there will be potential for more wildfires. As far as what the rest of summer will show, we're not sure yet. Wildfire season doesn't end until the end of October, so we really encourage Albertans to be diligent when they're out in the forested areas and help prevent human-caused wildfires.
Thanks, Arthur. Operator, do you have another reporter?
Chris Varco, Calgary Herald.
Yes, I'm wondering if you can give me an update on the Eagle Complex fire, and specifically, I guess, the 2 fires that were burning near Fox Creek. Can you just give me an update on the situation with those? Thanks
for the question. The Eagle Complex is still classified as out of control. Collectively, the two wildfires are around 140,000 hectares burning. We haven't had much change. We had low fire behavior on that wildfire this morning, and we're looking at more moderate conditions going into this evening.
Chris, do you have a follow-up?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, any additional reporters in the queue?
There are no other questions on the phone at this time.
Thank you very much, everyone. This concludes our availability today.